This kid, Percy Jackson, who finds out that his real dad is Poseidon, the god of the sea, and he goes on all these adventures. I told my son the first story. It took me about 3 nights to make it up as I went along, The Lightning Thief. When I was done, my son said, "Dad, that was good, you need to write it down." I said, "Nah, nobody wants to read that." He said, "No, really, Dad, write it down." I said, "Okay, fine." I wrote it down, I let some of my students read it, and they all said, "Yeah, you need to get that published." I didn't think anybody would like it, so I sent it off to the publishers in New York, but I used a pseudonym, a fake name, so no one would know it was me. Well, the next thing I knew, all these publishers were like, "Oh, we want to publish this book." And they decided to make it a 5-book series about Percy Jackson. And it's hard for me to believe, but just last May, finally, The Last Olympian, book 5 in the Percy Jackson series. People always ask me, like, what is my favorite book in the series? That's really hard for me to say, because I see it as one big story, so it's kind of hard to say which part of it I like. But I gotta tell you, writing the ending was really fun. All those things I knew was gonna happen to Percy when he turned 16. Well, finally in The Last Olympian, you get to find out. Now, I always knew the Percy Jackson series would be 5 books. I knew that, because I didn't want it to go on like so long that I got tired of it, and I didn't want it to be like, book 27, here comes the Minotaur, again. But at the same time, as I went around the country talking to people, everybody said, "Well, what about this god? What about that monster? Well, you never talk about what happens at camp." And I started thinking, there are a lot of other stories that I wasn't able to fit in the Percy Jackson series. And so, next year, we're going to launch the 2nd Camp Half-Blood series. I can't tell you too much about it, but I'm really excited about it. It's going to be, if you've read the end of The Last Olympian, I'm not going to give anything away, but you may have an idea of where the next series is going. Now, Percy may not be the main character in all of these books, but he's going to be around. You'll see the other characters, but there's also going to be a new generation of demigods coming through the camp. And there's a prophecy that they have to undertake, a new great, but that's going to be fun. There's also another book coming out even before that in the spring. I just finished writing it, and it's with my editor right now in New York. There was one thing that I used to teach that was even more popular than Greek mythology. Only one subject. You know what it was? Egypt. That's right. And so in the spring, May 4th of this year, you guys get ready, because the Egyptian gods are invading the modern world.